Sup nerds, today we have Megidramon versus Gallantmon. Chris won the die rolls, he's going first. He evos into Gillmon and then Growlmon. I hatch my GG evo into my Gillmon, which is the same one as his. And then play Gillmon, get my Scourge on. I add the Growlmon. And Chris promotes, evos into War Growl, we both mill top 3. And his effect can't resolve since he doesn't have, neither one of us have 5 cards in our trash. So I evo into Growlmon, play my Blitz Staccato for free. Evo into War Growlmon. He attempts to delete something, he cannot, so I get to evo into a Digimon with Gallantmon in its name for 1 cost fewer. And Megidramon counts itself as Chaos Gallantmon by its own effect, so that's why I can evo into Megidramon with that effect. So I evo for 4. Pop his War Growlmon so we don't get to mill, and then blitz into security, draw from the Gillmon, draw from the Digimon. I should have tapped the Staccato. It didn't occur to me to do it because I didn't have it on the field at the beginning of my turn. But I do check something safe, I'm 15k, and then I gain 2 memory at the end of the attack for the War Growlmon inheritable, so put him to 5. So he hatches evos into Gillmon, then evos into Growlmon. Over the course of this match, it occurred to me that I should definitely be playing 4 Blitz Staccatos, which I have since changed in my list. I was only playing 3 tonight. So Chris Crimson Blazes for 4 memory, chokes me to 1 and pops my Gillmon. I evo into Gillmon and Raising, swing security, draw from Digimon. End of attack, I gain 2 memory since he has no Digimon in play. If I had died to a check there, which only would have happened if I had checked Crimson mode, it would have sucked. But I just hard play Staccato to choke him to 1. Evos into War Growl. Uses his effect to evo into X-Antibody Gallant for 3 memory instead of 4. Then he deletes my Megidramon. I tell him thank you, because I get to play my Gillmon and my Staccato for free, and then Gillmon's on play triggers. Get my Scourge on, add another Blitz Staccato and a Megidramon. And then he blitzes its security. Checks another Staccato. Thank you. And then for some reason we just forgot the Gillmon was on the field, so Chris gained the 2 memory back from the War Growl. But we do end up catching it here, or Chris actually catches it. And we figure out I should be at 4. So I evo into Growlmon for 2, mill the top 2, and I add that War Growl back to my hand. Evo into War Growl for 3, attempts to delete something. Evo into Megidramon for 4. Blitz to draw from GG first, and we both mill top 5. And then his dude dies, I trigger both Staccatos and trigger War Growlmon's inheritable to gain 2 memory at the end of attack. So I choke him to 1, and I count his trash since I do have Crimson mode in my hand. So he has 21 cards in trash, so Crimson is game. And I show Chris that I have Crimson mode in my hand, double Crimson mode. So if he doesn't outlet Megidramon, I'm just telling him to scoop. Since if he can't do that, I just win. So I do take game 1. The Megidramon engine definitely paying off there. I don't care when my Megidramon dies. It's like this quote-unquote mirror is actually in my favor. So Chris chooses to go first for game 2. He hatches GG, evos into Gillmon, and evos into Growlmon for 2. And I hatch my GG. Evo into Gillmon, and then play Staccato for 4 to give him 2. So he promotes, evos into War Growl, uses his effect. Evos into Gallant for 1 fewer, so 3 memory. Does not have Blitz Staccato, so he can't swing and trash his security for free. Yeah, like this situation right here, me and Chris are actually discussing not seeing Blitz Staccato really hurting in this matchup. Because right here, if I had Blitz Staccato, I could out his Gallantmon, but I do not. So I evo into Black Growl, mill 2, add War Growl to hand, evo into War Growl. Use his effect to evo into my Gallantmon with Raid for 3 memory. Sadly can't blitz into security, but he can't swing over me since he doesn't have any inheritables to gain DP, so he'd have to go into something else to pop him. And I do that because the Black Growl inheritable will give me that Gallantmon back, so I can actually warp with my Staccato on the following turn if I want to. So he plays Staccato, Evo's into Crimson mode, pops my Gallant, and then I add back a Gallant. So he gains 1 memory from the Growlmon, 1 memory from Staccato, and then blitzes, trashes 1, and checks 1. Then once again, I realized not having Blitz Staccato is screwing me here. Although I wouldn't be able to gain Rush from my Gilmon anyway. So I just have to hope that he can't kill me on his next turn. So Evo into Growlmon for 2. And that's actually a mistake. What I should have done is left that as a Gilmon so I could have promoted and then warped with Staccato. Evoing into Growlmon was just a straight up mistake. But I do play Red Memory Boost, put him to 2. Also, I do really love the art on Chris's mat. Lord Nightmon is by far one of my favorite Digimon, just due to BT5 meta. Bandai, give us Lord Nightmon next, please. So Chris promotes, swings with Gilmon, draws from GG. It does die to a check. Swings with Crimson, draws from GG, trashes 1 and checks 1. Sadly, it trashed my Red Memory Boost. Check the Crimson Blaze, which doesn't actually do anything since he doesn't have anything on his field, and doesn't really play Digimon by effects in this current game state. So he plays Gilmon, gets his Scourge on, adds the Black Growl to hand. Then he Evos into Black Growl for 2, we both mill top 2, and he gets to add a piece to his hand if he wants. And he adds the Rush Gilmon to his hand, which is smart. Alright, so I go to 3, draw for turn. Now Evo into War Growl, hoping to mill a Blitz Staccato. Sadly, we do not get there. Ultimately, I don't think it matters, because I'm not sure if I'm able to out his Crimson mode and Black Growl without giving him enough memory to play that Gilmon and just kill me on his turn. And Chris is taunting me with it, just like I taunted him with Crimson mode on the previous game. So at this point, I'm just thinking if I want to play the Rush Gilmon. So I go ahead and play him. He gains Rush for the turn. I pop the Mimboost, go to 2. And then I'm thinking about activating the Staccato effect to warp him. But sadly, I do not have a second starter deck Growlmon in my trash to where when I Evo into my Gallant, when I pop his Black Growl with his Evo effect, I won't actually gain enough memory to keep it my turn. If I'd had the Blitz Staccato in play, this wouldn't have mattered because I could have blitzed, and I would have blitzed over his Crimson mode because I would have tucked the BT12 Growlmon, and my Gallant would have been 16k from that inheritable and the Staccato effect to give him an additional 2k for the turn. And so I would have popped the Black Growl with the on Evo effect, blitzed into that guy, and then gained 2 memory at the end of attack from the War Growl, so it would have kept turn. So I activate Staccato's effect, and then fail to Evo. That is something you can do with this deck, for anyone that's unaware. It's just like BT7 Takuya. So I do it just to get access to the inheritables, because there's no reason not to. And I just scoop. I have no way to clear his bodies, and he has a Rush Gilmon in his hand anyway. And I wouldn't be able to clear his bodies and choke him, so Chris takes game 2. So I choose to go first for game 3, hatch my GG, Evo into Gilmon, and then Evo into Growlmon for 2. Chris hatches his GG, Evo's into his Gilmon, then plays the best card in this matchup, Blitz Staccato for 3 to choke me to 1. Then I play Gilmon, get my Scourge on, add my Megidramon to hand, and he plays a memory setting Staccato for 4. Then I promote my Growlmon. Evo into War Growl for 3, uses effects to Evo into Megidramon for 4, and we both mill top 5. And so that sets him to 5, but when he outs my Megidramon, I get to float into a Staccato and a Gilmon, so it's good for me. Giving him 5 memory isn't a big deal. Since all of his removal's deletion based, it's pretty safe. So Chris promotes. And fortunately, I did not mill a Growlmon for him, so he can't warp with his Staccato. So Evo's into Black Growl for 2, mills 2, and then gets to add back. He adds the Rush Gilmon back to hand. Evo's into War Growl pops my Gilmon. Then he taps Staccato to gain a memory. So he Evo's into Gallantmon for 4. And decides not to blitz because he knows I would just swing over it with Megidramon. And he can't actually get bigger than me right now because I'm 13k and he's only 12. So I play Gallantmon for 3, get my Scourge on. Add the War Growl to hand. So I swing security with Megidra, draw from GG. Check another Blitz Staccato, which kind of sucks, and then I just play a Blitz Staccato to set him to 3. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm pressuring him with Megidramon, and he knows that if he deletes it, it actually benefits me. I love Megidramon in this mirror, it's so nice. So he evos into Crimson for 6, pops my Megidramon. He gains 2 memory from the Staccatos, but my Megidramon plays out a Gallantmon and a memory setting Staccato. And I add a Crimson mode to hand from the Gallantmon search. And then he blitzes, and he draws off GG and trashes 1 and checks 1. Or trashes 2 and checks 1, sorry. And then because I have Digimon in play, he does not gain the memory back from the War Growl. So now I am fully set up. I promote my Gallantmon. So I evo my Growlmon for 2 to mill 2 and add back a piece. And add a Black Growl back to hand. Okay, and then I use Staccato's effect to warp my Gallantmon into a Gallantmon. I add the BT12 Growl that gives me 2k DP for the turn, and Staccato's effect also gives me 2k, so I'm actually 16k with my Gallantmon. And then I blitz at Crimson mode, trash it card from Gallantmon's effect. I gain a memory from Staccato and then gain 2 memory back from the War Growl inheritable to go back to 0. Then Chris is deciding on his Black Growl inheritable to add a piece back to his hand. So he adds Gallantmon back to his hand. And at this point, I'm trying to think of a way to add that Gallantmon back to my hand when he inevitably outs it on his turn, so I can warp and kill him on my turn. And also I need to play the Staccato back out so I can warp. So I evo into War Growl for 3 with both my top 3, and then I just play a Warp Staccato back. So obviously he's forced to deal with my board. I don't think he can kill me. If he has exactly Raid Gallantmon into Crimson mode, he can kill me. But I'm just hoping that he doesn't have that. I know he has the Gallantmon in hand, but I'm just hoping he doesn't have another Crimson mode in hand. So Chris activates Staccato's Warp effect. And didn't realize that Black Growlmon does not count as Growlmon. So he actually does not have a Growlmon in trash, which is kind of unbelievable, but very good for me. So he actually has to use Gallantmon's effect to warp. So he evos for 4 into Gallant from Gallantmon's effect since I have a level 6 or higher. Pops my Gallantmon and then gains some memory back from the Staccato and then draws a card from Gallantmon. If he had Crimson mode here, I just lose because he blitzes, trashes 2, and then I just die. So he attempts attack security, trashes 1, and raids into my War Growl. I use my War Growl effect to add Gallantmon from my trash to my hand so I can warp evo. Then he plays Gallantmon for 3, and there's a Crimson mode. If he had seen that, I just would have lost, but thankfully he did not. So I go to 3. I ask him how many cards he has in trash. He has 17. So if I evo into Crimson mode, it pops his Gallant, and that's 3 additional cards to put him to 20. So I evo for 6, Crimson mode, pop, blitz for game because I trash the top 3 cards, and I do take it. A very close match between me and Chris, but I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy seeing this kind of content. Want to come back for more. But until next time, see ya.